Hi, everybody. It's the Christmas season. I guess we should be talking about rums to buy, but I'm not going to make any recommendations on that. Today, we're going to be talking about rum from one of the two major rum distilling companies in India called Amrut. Now, the story of this remarkable company, as far as I'm concerned, I've made a fairly comprehensive biography of it, which is, to quote Gilderoy Lockhart, see my published works. It was founded in 1948 by Rao Jagdale, and what had happened was that at the time the regulations for setting up a distillery and making alcohol were relaxed somewhat, making it easier and cheaper to do so. So he went, he had a drugstore at the time, and he went ahead and created a distillery. Now, the company legend is all about the whiskies, and of course that's why Amrut is known it's world around, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be, because those whiskies are actually quite impressive, and many of my friends here in Calgary love them to pieces. But they've been making rums much longer than that, pretty much from the very beginning of the company, as I say, in 1948. Now, even back then, though, rums had that bad reputation about which I've referred to more than once. They were made from molasses. Yes, they were made from neutral alcohol. Yes, to which spirits and other spices were added. Yes, they went to the lowest common denominator. Yes. And that continued for a very long time. But once the whiskey started to take off in the 80s and 90s, and they realized that there was a market for premium products, they apparently must have decided that they're going to go dip their hands into rums. Now, they've made a fair amount, but for the most part, the rums that they make are the two Indies and the Old Port Deluxe. And the two Indies range of rums is about four, maybe five of them over the years. There was the two Indies original. There's the two Indies dark, which had components of Barbados, Jamaica, and Guyana mixed with some rums from India itself. But today we're going to talk about the white, right? Now, the white rum is actually a bit yellow, as you might notice from here, because it has been slightly aged. And this one is made of three components. Those three components are sugarcane-based distillate, so basically an agricole component from sugarcane that's grown just by the distillery and in Bangalore. And then there is also a jaggery-based distillate. Now, jaggery is an unrefined sugar high in nutrients. It's called gur in some parts of India, and it is a source of nutrients and even food in some cases because it's actually quite nutritious. I actually sweeten my tea with it at home. So these three pieces are put together with a Jamaican rum, supposedly a high ester rum, although the distillery is never identified, nor is the component ratios one to the other. And the rum is then bottled at 42.8%, which is the old Imperial 75 proof. And Bob's your uncle, there you have your rum. Obviously, therefore, you can immediately tell that the whole point about the two Indies moniker that is on the label has everything to do with the fact it's East and West Indies blend mixed up together. I don't think it entirely succeed, but that's another matter entirely, right? So the rum itself, the problem with it, I think, is that it's weak and it's thin. And I'm sure the intentions were well meant, but there just isn't enough scent to go with it. So when you smell it, it's interesting enough, I suppose. You can taste a little bit of candy floss and marshmallows, a little bit of white fruits, pears. You can get some watermelon, some papaya, sweet coconut water, and there's some bananas, caramel. That's probably coming from the jaggery coming through. There's a little bit of spices, vanilla and cardamom and some cinnamon, but you really got a strain to go after it. And here's the thing. You're not really tasting a whole shitload of Jamaica here. And if the point of the Jamaican was to give it some oomph and some kick and to basically put some Rastafarians down in the back burner, you're not getting any of that. I'm sorry. So when you taste it, yeah, you're pretty much getting more of the same, right? It is light. It is weak. It should be oofed up to about 4 to 6%, I think, and it would make a more stronger statement for itself. Now, here's another thing. The website and the promotional materials always talk about the herbaceous and vegetal profile, but you're not really getting that because I guess they're trying to make a case for the fact that it has a stronger agricole component, but it doesn't, right? So you are getting some pastries and some Danish cookies and a few bit of, those same spices. But the crisp and grassy and herbaceous notes of a true agricole really aren't there. It's just an underpowered thing, and the profile suffers for that, I think. It is, even on the finish, it's just too quick, it's just too thin. I mean, it's just like unsatisfying coitus, for Christ's sake. It's brief, it's barely noticeable as an experience, and by the time you get a head of steam going, it's over. There's some light fruity notes and a bit of spearmint gum in that finish as a consolation, I suppose, but over and beyond that, you're not getting a whole lot. All right, so yes, I know it is meant for mixing, right? It is a mixing rum. It costs under 30 euros in Europe, which means it's just about the same price in the United States. I haven't seen it in Canada yet. It was only actually introduced in 2023, as far as I'm aware. Before that, they never had a white rum of any nature, of any kind in the company's stable. I'd probably trade it. I'd probably buy it. I'd taste it. I'd share it out to my friends. I'd sample it out. The lackluster profile is really not to the rum's advantage, and the Jamaican portion of the blend is supposed to, well, according to the website anyway, is supposed to infuse it with powerful fruity esters. There's nothing like that there. It's too little to put an exclamation point on the rum's taste. So really, if I had to suggest something, I'd suggest that it's trying to do three different things at the same time: a jaggery-based rum, a sugarcane juice-based rum, and a Jamaican rum, all trying to play it together. And it doesn't really succeed at any of them. So my feeling would be, either make a jaggery, either make a sugarcane juice or something, lose the Jamaican, and trying to make it something that's truly emblematic of India that can take the company and the country to the next level. For this, what it is, I would say keep it as a mixer. It's going to be absolutely banging for a daiquiri, I think, although it isn't going to be very, very forceful in that drink. But other than that, juice it up in your cocktail. Don't do anything else with it. It's not a sipping rum by any stretch of the imagination. I'm going to rate this at 75 points, which is kind of like a middle score. So, it's a rum. It's okay. It's decent enough as it is, but it's not my cup of tea at all. And as a consequence, even though I'd probably buy it as a reviewer, as a drinker, it would probably languish on my shelf. So there you go. So I hope you enjoy this. If you have any comments on it, I do like knowing more about rums from obscure parts of the world that we don't know enough about here in the West. But if you do have some comments on it, please leave them. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Enjoy. Bye.